Okay, hello data lovers and welcome to another I Love Data Fridays podcast. This podcast is from February the 10th of 2017 from our I Love Data Fridays on February the 10th. And this is volume 3, question number 1 from this week's I Love Data Fridays podcast. And it is a question about the reliability and the validity of the observation survey. So, hey, who's talking data to you? Well, it's me, Jeff Breimer-Bashore, Director of IT and Operations here at the International Data Evaluation Center. And let's get right to our first question. And our question comes from a teacher leader, and it states, Wikipedia includes the following entry about reading recovery. The observation survey has been standardized in the UK and the US to determine its validity and reliability. However, the coefficients have not been reported. Can you please explain this in clear English and comment on the statement's comments? So I have the link right here from where our teacher leader found this on Wikipedia. And if I slide a web browser over here just in front of the screen there's the actual Wikipedia page. And the comment that we are referring to is right here. Okay, so that's our comment here. So, great question, folks. You know what? And let me get over here. Let's talk some data. Let's get the screen switched. So, yeah, let's talk some data. So, what is reliability and validity, and how does this relate to the observation survey? And then our other question is, where can I find the coefficients? And, geez, what do they mean? So let's get into our first question there. What the heck is validity and reliability? So in general, these are statistical methods to check whether or not assessments do what they say they do, all right? So, does the measuring text reading level, is that measuring text reading level? So I turned to my friend here, the internet, and did some research, on, what is reliability and validity, and read through a few pages and got a couple books out, read through a couple books. And I think I found the best explanation, the easiest one to understand on this website right here. And I'm going to bring back over my web browser screen. I'm going to flip over to that page. Here is our page right here. And it's specifically a page that's talking about classroom assessments. So let me come down, and it's got a great section here on reliability and validity. So let me just start with the reliability. All right, we're starting right here. So reliability refers to the extent which assessments are consistent. Just as we enjoy having reliable cars that start every time when we need them, we strive to have consistent instruments to measure student achievement. Another way to think of reliability is to imagine a kitchen scale. If we weigh 5 pounds of potatoes in the morning and the scale is reliable, the same scale should register 5 pounds for potatoes an hour later, unless, of course, you've peeled and cooked them. Likewise, instruments such as classroom tests and national standardized exams should be reliable. It should not make any difference whether the student takes the assessment in the morning or the afternoon or one day or the next. All right? So there's our reliability. So, the text reading level you should get a reliable answer whether you're testing the student in the morning or the afternoon, or whether it's on a Monday or a Tuesday. We should be able to get reliable measures from our tasks of the observation survey. Now, let me move down here. We'll talk about validity next. And validity is right here on this webpage. So validity refers to the accuracy of an assessment, whether or not it measures what it is supposed to measure. Even if a test is reliable, it may not provide a valid measure. So let's imagine a bathroom scale that consistently tells you that you weigh 130 pounds. The reliability or consistency of the scale is very good, but it is not accurate or valid because you actually weigh 145 pounds. Perhaps you retest the scale in a weak moment. Haha, I think that meant to be a joke there. Since the teachers, parents, and school districts make decisions about students based on assessments such as grades, promotions, and graduation, the validity inferred from assessments is essential, even more crucial than reliability. Also, if a test is valid, it is almost always reliable. So there we go. There is our validity and our reliability. Our reliability is telling us that our assessment should work no matter when we test them, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon or the day of the week. Our tests should work and give similar reliable results no matter when we use them. And that our validity is telling us that our tests, when we get a score from that it is a valid and accurate score, that it is actually measuring what it is supposed to measure. Now, how does this affect the observation survey? How do we know that the observation survey is reliable and valid? So I'm going to bring up an article here. Let me do it. Let's see. Observation survey, validity and reliability. And I am going to go down to the RRCNA website right here. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. And there was a nice article published in the Journal of Reading Recovery in spring of 2012. And this article was written by IDEC's former Director of Research, Dr. Jerry D'Agostino. And it talks about how the observation survey was confirmed to have have the highest ratings for the response to intervention, the National Center for Response to Intervention. And a part of getting this high rating, we had to prove that the observation survey was reliable and valid. And I'm going to scroll down here. And this is just a screenshot from the National Center on Response to Intervention's page, but it's showing that the observation survey of early literacy achievement, a circle means it has convincing evidence that under the reliability and validity, that it has convincing evidence of this. Now, important thing to note is that it was actually done, its reliability and validity were done using the OS total score. All right, so it wasn't done for each task of the observation survey. Dr. D'Agostino had to come up with this total score scale to help prove that or to convincingly show that the observation survey was reliable and valid. Now, what I'm looking for here is the section about why we use the observation survey. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to start reading right here. So all of the analyses were conducted on each of the tasks of the observation survey separately, but sufficient evidence could not be generated to earn the highest rating on all 5 standards for any one task. It is not the case that the tasks alone do not provide critical information about student literacy. The major challenge with most observation survey tasks analyzed separately was the highly skewed distribution of fall scores, such as letter identification. Most non-reading recovery students know most of their letters by the fall of first grade. Text reading levels, 75% of the random sample scores less than 6 or less in the fall in the first grade, which delimits these tasks from adequately predicting spring outcomes. However, treating the tasks of task assist partial credit items on a total score led to fall and spring distributions that were more normally shaped. So, I mean, that's why we had Dr. D'Agostino had to create this total score scales, because a lot of our assessments, these are assessments testing skills. They're, like you said, they're highly skewed. They're either lumping, kids kind of lump down at the bottom of the scale in the fall or up near the top of the scale in the fall. So if you want to read this article, you can certainly go to the RRCNA website and look for it, or we stuck a copy of it on our website here. If you go to the February 2017 folder, click on that on our publications and go to question number 1. Copy of the article right there for you to look at. Okay, so there's our validity and reliability. Now, now let me go back a couple slides here. So our second question is, where can I find the coefficients and what do they mean? So remember on Wikipedia it says, however, the coefficients have not been reported. So I'm not sure what the author of this sentence is really trying to say, whether they're not reported in a statistical journal or just not reported in a public way, but we do have coefficients. Well, first of all, I'm not sure which coefficients he's talking about. I think they are talking about correlation coefficients, and we do have them. If you go back to our website and the publications, and we go down to the methodology section here, and we are going to look for the U.S. norms for task of an observation survey and early literacy achievement. Click on that. It's going to download our norms document. We're going to open that up, and we are going to scroll down. Keep scrolling to page 16. All right, here we are, page 16, our correlations, coefficients. So what is a correlation between variables? Well, let me read a description to you here. I am reading a excerpt from 100 Questions and Answers about Statistics, written by Neil J. Salkind, and this is from page 83 of this book. And it says, what is an example of a correlation coefficient and how can it be used? Here it states, correlations are a way to use to make judgments about the strength of relationships between variables. Sometimes they are used descriptively to see whether variables are related, but they are used inferentially to extend a conclusion to a population based on an earlier finding. So the correlations are used to make judgments about the strengths of the relationships between variables. So in our case, it's the strength of relationships between different tasks of the observation survey. When one score changes, how does another score changes? And this last sentence, but they also are used inferentially to extend a conclusion to a population based on an earlier finding. So we compute these correlations. The number that comes up in the correlation tells us the strength or how related the variables are, and we can use that to infer information about what's going to happen to the other scores. So in correlations, the strength of a correlation is given as a decimal, and the decimal ranges from 0 to 1. In these tables, they range from 0 to 1. The higher the number, the stronger the relationship between two variables. So for example, if we look at the letter, I'm going to look at correlations at year end for letter identification and concepts about print. And it has a correlation of about 0.31. And according to my book here, a 0.3 means there's a weak relationship between those two variables. So my book on page 94 of the 100 Questions and Answers about Statistics, if the correlation is 0 to 0.2, there's an absence of a relationship between the variables. 0.2 to 0.4 is a weak relationship. 0.4 to 0.6 is moderate. 0.6 to 0.8 is strong, and 0.8 to 1 is a very strong relationship. So in our case, in our example here on letter identification and concepts about print, there's really a weak relationship that when the score increases on a child's letter identification, it doesn't really predict, there's a weak prediction that their concept about print will also go up. Where we see some strong correlations are maybe between writing vocabulary and the OS total score. So it has a 0.92 relationship. So as kids are able to write more words, the total score also goes up. That makes sense because our total score ranges from, I think, 0 to 200, and that's one of our largest. One of our assessments has one of the largest scores on it. So as that's going up, that's really going to drive the OS total score up as well. So there we go, folks. There's where you can find our correlation coefficients on our website. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you once again for watching another I Love Data Fridays podcast from the International Data Valuation Center. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. Come on, click it. You know you want to. All right, talk to you later. Bye.